actually got to Australia. Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey getting here? Because I also love this story.
Yeah, I have so many interesting stories funny stories that I forget. So basically what happened is throughout high school, I loved acting and I liked sort of, making videos and doing these different types of things. And I worked out, it was in my mind like advertising. And I went to the guidance counselors and I explained what I wanted to do, but being from Saskatchewan, they didn't really have access to a lot of types of careers or know what they were. Hence why I want to create and interview all these different amazing careers so that no matter where girls are, they can go, oh no, there's that career, I'm going to find it. So I went to them. They said, no, you're not good at maths, or you don't have this top math. And I'm thinking, not sure what top maths has to do with this course, but...
Oh, can I super quickly interject and say something? I'm going to share an equal horror story with maths. I was told the same thing in my final year of high school, that if I wanted to go... don't get me started. But my assistant handles all the spreadsheets. But I mean, look at me now. I don't like doing it. I don't have a natural...
And you don't have to.
Yeah, and I know this now. But back in the day, they said, you need to do this level of maths, which wasn't my natural predisposition. I was the writer. I was the avid Shakespeare reader. I was one of the staunch supporters of the Bronte sisters. And I loved writing and I loved reading. And maths didn't come very naturally to me, so I needed a tutor. And in fact, the only recurring dream that I ever have is that I didn't study for my maths exam, and I always wake up in a cold sweat. And it's always indicative of what is going on for me in my personal life, usually around the theme that I have inadvertently created unnecessary work for myself when I don't need to. And it is represented by that, because let me tell you, when I went to Sydney University and studied to become a social worker, I didn't do a shred of maths.
Well, you know what, it's interesting though, is I was actually quite good at maths when I ended up. So what happened is I ended up going to travel instead, because I thought, I'm not just going to study arts and science because everyone studies arts and science.
Mm-hmm.
If I couldn't get into this degree that I wanted to, I wasn't going to waste time or money on something just for the sake of it. So I thought, I'll travel and then work out after that. And my mom and then my stepdad, which then came into the picture. They said pretty much, if you want to do that, go. I mean, I was 18, but go with our blessing, because otherwise, if I went and wasn't going to call them, they didn't really want me to go so young. But it turned out really well. And I basically, worked a bit. I didn't come to Australia with a lot of money. I came as a backpacker, absolutely loved it.
At 18?
After I woke up. At what?
At 18?
Yeah, 18.
Yeah.
So I just finished high school. In Canada, we finish in June. Finished high school and went, I'm going to Australia, because since I was 5, remember, I wanted to go there because this Australian came, and there was kangaroos, there was hot weather and beaches, and I thought, boom, that's for me. So I came to Australia, spent a year here, absolutely loved it. 3 days after I got here, I woke up crying because I thought that I had to go home back to Canada, and I absolutely loved Australia so much. In those 3 days that I knew it was going to be home for me straight away. Quite bizarre, yeah.
So did you end up staying here for a year? Because what is it with us Australians and Canadians? We can go to each other's respective country on a working visa for a year. Is that right?
Yes. So I came to Australia for a year. Then I went to England for a year and did the working thing there. And I worked, I wanted to choose what I wanted to do while I was there. So I walked into a Hilton, got a job there as reception, which was amazing. And then after that, went to Planet Hollywood. I thought, because when I was in London, I thought, where would I want to work? And I was like, because I always like a bit of the celebrity sort of appeal and personable and social. And I walked into Planet Hollywood and got a job there. And, I was whatever, 20 or 18, 19, 20 at the time as a server. And it was a really cool experience. I mean, because they saw my initiative, and this is something really important and it's really a big value of my initiative. They ended up getting me to help with PR. And I went to set up a competition with Justin Timberlake and met him. This is a random tangent story, but it's just interesting the types of things that you can experience. So was hanging out watching Justin Timberlake playing table tennis.
I have a similar Justin Timberlake story as well, because
when you're friends with Jussie as well. Just kidding.
Well, I wouldn't say friends, but I met him back when he was, what was the band, NSYNC or something? Is that?
Oh my gosh, that's way old.
Yeah, so this is before he became a solo artist, and I was working as the hostess, not at Planet Hollywood, but at the Hard Rock Cafe in Amsterdam.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
Interesting, very interesting. But I don't want to take away from your wonderful story, because I know that you then went back to Canada. Yeah,
went to Canada for 6 months, and then basically I wanted to study in Australia, and I really, really wanted to study, because after you do your 1 year working holiday, you can't you can't just be in Australia or work or do anything. So I actually had the intention. I found out there's a marketing degree, which is exactly the degree. I mean, it was perfectly what I was looking for. With this advertising or whatever I thought it was that they didn't offer, the guidance counselors didn't offer or tell me about, and was just committed to figure out how I was going to make this happen. Had a conversation with my parents, and they said, it's really expensive. The international fees are ridiculous. You're far away. You're going to have to work out where you're going to live and how you're going to pay for that. And they said, we'll pay for your studies if you stay here, because you can live with us, and we'll pay for your studies. Or if you want to go there, I mean, we'll give you the same amount, which is what your whole degree would cost here. And I think the whole degree of what I want to do in Canada, maybe this isn't exactly right, but could have been something like $7,000 or $8,000. And I think my degree was like $20,000 a year in Australia. So that $7,000 or $8,000 barely even covered the tuition fees, never mind living. Ridiculous. And I went, okay, perfect. I'll take that. Thanks. And I'll go to Australia. So that was enough to get me in the course. Yeah.
Wow. So that's so interesting. Again, your value was so inexplicably clear that despite the fact that you were offered and I say this in air quotes, the easy option, the supported option, the tribe, stay with us, we'll back you, you backed yourself.
Yeah, you know what? Back yourself. That's a massive thing, because that comes into my story later on when I ended up leaving another position that I was doing. But yeah, I just, because I didn't like the cold weather, and I was going to have to deal with winters, and I knew that I'd rather be poor and warm than rich and freezing during the school year. So I just worked out, with the values, I could go without certain things and then have other ones, and I knew I'd work it out. I mean, I just always have this knowing. Arnold Schwarzenegger actually random, but he talks about it a bit. That same sort of feeling that you just have a knowing and you know it'll work out.